You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 8th meeting of the Michigan City Police Civil Service Commission special meeting. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
All right, good morning. I guess we'll get started here. I think we're just waiting on one. I think he's on his way. As I say, we're going to have a special presentation. The Police Commission did not make notice of the meeting today, so the regular scheduled Police Commission, I believe, is being rescheduled. So there'll be notice of that coming out soon. But again, I know that we had sent out obviously several emails. Thank you for everyone for coming. Obviously, we want to take obviously the opportunity to recognize a couple of outstanding acts throughout the department, and then obviously a promotion. So again, we just wanted to have a special presentation. We know that all of you guys took time out of your day to come today, so we wanted to make sure that we made that happen. First, I think we just want to call up Deshaun Harris. I would say newly promoted Corporal Deshaun Harris. So you got choose with her. There you go. Come on, you do this. Just real quick, Sean Harris is an A+ year veteran for Michigan City Police Department. Served as an FTO for several years. Currently a member of our SWAT team. Works a lot, works a ton. He's one of those guys that's always there, but you never know is there, just because of his demeanor. We're excited to obviously see him take the next step in his career here in law enforcement. You know, as a leader, again, he's always been there. He's continued to instruct young probationary officers, and again, we're excited for him. Right? I would obviously encourage you, to continue your role, as a confidant to your peers. Right, be there for them, understand you, and again, we're excited for you to take this next step as a corporal. I just want to say congratulations out to Chief Corporal. He's probably got a few words of wisdom as well.
Yes, I'm happy to have Sean move into his next phase in the department as a corporal supervisor. I've seen him from day one come on and seen him aspire to elevate his game here from Michigan City Police Department. Again, one of those officers that you can always count on. May not always be loud, but when you need him, he'll be there. So really appreciate what Sean has brought to the department, and excited to see what comes next as he goes into his new role as a corporal here at the Michigan City Police Department. So congratulations again.
Congrats. We have several letters of accommodations, which we want to again recognize several officers of the Michigan City Police Department, just again for they're going above and beyond. Right, we had several incidences over the last several months to where again, as you'll hear, these officers, detectives, supervisors, they really have gone above and beyond to either resolve a situation, and just exceptional police work. So we just want to take that opportunity to recognize them. So first, we could have Detective Corporal Marcoletti come up. Stand here. I'll read this as stated. Corporal Marcoletti was nominated for a letter of commendation from Catherine Urbancic. On August 9, 2023, the Indiana Department of Child Services forwarded a complaint regarding 2 young children who were sexually abused by their stepfather from 2015 to 2023. For purposes of this letter, the 2 children will be referred to as Victim 1 and Victim 2. The perpetrator, stepfather, was identified during this investigation by Corporal Galletti as Anthony Johnson. Corporal Galletti learned during this investigation that Victims 1 and 2 were raped multiple times and even forced to perform numerous sexual acts. It should be noted that Victim 2 is autistic. Victims 1 and 2 reported these incidents to their mother. However, the mother did not believe these accusations were true, so it was never reported to anyone else, including law enforcement. The mother of Victims 1 and 2 even continued her marriage with Johnson and allowed him to live in the same house with them even after these allegations were reported. A forensic interview took place with Victims 1 and 2 at Dunebrook on August 10th. Victims reported the same allegations as mentioned above. Victim 2 also mentioned that Johnson had forced her to perform sexual acts just a few weeks prior to the interview. Corporal Galletti learned during this forensic interview that Johnson persuaded the victims into performing these acts through bribery. He also convinced both victims that he would never do this to his real children, and that what happens in the house stays in the house. Therefore, they should not talk about these incidences to anyone. Victims were forced to participate in such traumatic events that no child or adult should ever be a part of. Corporal Galletti worked closely with the LaPorte County Prosecutor's Office to secure a total of 14 criminal charges against Johnson on September 11, 2023. The charges Corporal Galletti secured were 7 counts of child molestation, level 1 felony, 6 counts of rape, level 3 felony, and 1 count of vicarious sexual gratification, level 4. Our Warrants Division and Fugitive Apprehensions 3 team then worked with Galletti to take Johnson into custody on September 17th. Corporal Galletti worked tirelessly to bring justice and closure to the victims of this case. He brought a living nightmare these children were experienced for 8 to 9 years to an end. He certainly remained focused and dedicated to holding Johnson accountable for his actions. There's no doubt that Johnson would likely be continuing to offend these victims, if not for the work Corporal Galletti put into this time-consuming and detailed sex investigation. Corporal Galletti, your actions with this investigation were recognized by the command staff and are keeping with the highest standards of the Michigan City Police Department. It is a great pleasure to present you this undercommendation. If we can get Officer Kane Fletcher, Officer Douglas Abraham, and Officer Daniel Reward. Go ahead.
These officers were, that recommendation came from
Sergeant Kennedy.
Sergeant
Kennedy.
Officer Douglas Abraham, also Officer Daniel Revore, and Officer Kane Fletcher. On September 10th, 2023, at approximately 16:30 hours, Officer Fletcher, Officer Abraham, and Officer Revore arrived at 505 Pleasant Avenue for a threats, intimidation, dispatch. The call for service stated that the suspect's mother had contacted the police prior to arriving at 505 Pleasant Avenue due to the suspect, Khalil Fly, threatening to shoot up the house and his mother and father. There had also been a call for service earlier in the day regarding the same suspect threatening to shoot someone at 618 Southwood Drive. The suspect is known by the members of the Michigan City Police Department and is known to carry firearms. When officers arrived at 505 Pleasant Avenue, they contacted the suspect's mother and grandmother before entering the home. After being informed of the officers made their way to the back bedroom and discovered that the suspect appeared to be sleeping on the bed. Officers also witnessed 2 handguns, one with the magazine or with the machine gun conversion device and drum magazine, and a clear bag containing a grim substance lying on the bed of the suspect. The officers quickly came up with a plan to quietly move the guns away from the suspect while he was asleep and then take him into custody. Officer Revore was able to remove the guns from the bed and hand them to Officer Fletcher. Officer Fletcher then took the guns to another room and made the guns safe by removing the magazines and the round in the chamber. After the guns were removed from the bed, Officer Revore quickly placed his body weight on top of the suspect to restrict his movement. He was able to place a handcuff on one of the suspect's wrists, and the suspect was then removed from the bed with the assistance of Officer Abraham. The other wrist was able to be placed into a handcuff with some assistance from Officer Fletcher after the suspect was moved to a different room. Officers then conducted a search of the residence. During their search, they found another loaded drum magazine and an empty 40-round magazine in the basement. The evidence of the criminal activity that was collected during this incident was 48.8 grams of marijuana, 25 grams of psilocybin, 6.6 grams of fentanyl, 39.6 grams of prazolam, and 26.4 grams of MDMA. and $665.12, one machine gun, one pistol, and several firearms and accessories. The criminal charges which resulted from this incident are the following: dealing in Schedule 1, 2, 3 substance, level 3 felony; dealing in Schedule 4 substance, level 3 felony; dealing a narcotic drug, level 3 felony; unlawful carry of a handgun with a prior conviction, level 5 felony; possession of a machine gun without a license, level 5 felony; dealing in marijuana, level 5 felony; possession with intent to deliver a counterfeit substance, level 6 felony. Officer Revore, Officer Fletcher, and Officer Abraham, your actions during this event were recognized by the command staff and are in keeping with the highest standards of the Michigan City Police Department. It gives me great pleasure to present you with this letter of commendation. Congratulations.
Switch, there we go. There you go. County's in charge. Awesome. Thank you. Good job. Next, we get Captain Jillian Ashley, Officer Taylor Tillman, and Officer Maximiliano Hernandez. Just bring her up.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Just bring her up. The command staff received this nomination from Corporal Aaron Bass. The 13th day of September 2023 at 19:15 hours, the E911 LaPorte County Dispatch Center advised a robbery had just occurred at the BP gas station located at 1204 Franklin Street, and the suspects had a firearm. Officer Taylor Tillman immediately proceeded to the BP, and while traveling there, saw two white males walking east on Detroit Street near the intersection of Spring. She observed one was wearing an all-gray sweatshirt, later identified as Christopher Platts, and the other was wearing a black t-shirt, later identified as Chance Bowden. Officer Tillman continued to the BP and spoke with the victim, who provided the same clothing description for the suspects as the subjects that she had just seen on Detroit Street. Officer Tillman then relayed the descriptions and last seen locations to the other officers via radio and traveled to the location where they were last seen. Upon hearing Officer Tillman's description and last seen location, Officer Maximiliano Hernandez proceeded to the area. While he was traveling north on Lafayette Street, he saw the suspect walking east in the alley between Cedar and Lafayette Street. Officer Hernandez notified other units of his finding via the radio, stopped, exited his police vehicle, and commanded them to stop. Both Platts and Bowden turned and ran west through the alley. Officer Hernandez immediately gave chase and caught up with them in front of 1122 Cedar Street, where he saw Plants in front of the residence and Bowden near the garage with Officer Hernandez located in between them. Officer Hernandez looked towards Platts and showed him, who had slowed down and moved his hands to the center line of his waist, with the belief that at least one of the subjects was in possession of a firearm. And Officer Hernandez successfully deployed his taser on Platts. He looked towards Bowden, who began getting on the ground and following his commands. Officer Hernandez safely placed Bowden into custody and escorted him to Plants, who was still lying on the ground, and safely placed him into custody as well. Once officers arrived on scene, Officer Hernandez located $100 and $20 bills in Plants' pocket, and a broken bottle of Jim Beam whiskey was near Bowden, who had alcohol-soaked clothing. No firearms were located on the suspects. Captain Jillian Ashley arrived at the BP gas station while officers were attempting to locate the suspects. She gathered a full statement from the victim, Zachary Haas, who identified the suspects by their names as Chance and Chris, who he had known from being in jail with them. He told her that he was beaten by Plants and Bowden, and he stole $100 and $20 bills from his pockets and a pint of Jim Beam that he had on his person. Captain Ashley relayed this information to Officer Hernandez, who located the suspects. Plants and Bowling were arrested. Once on station, Captain Ashley conducted interviews with both the suspects. Both Chance and Platts ultimately confessed to the robbery. It was Avery Haas. Both suspects were arrested for robbery resulting in bodily injury, level 3 felony, and resisting law enforcement. Captain Ashley, Officer Hernandez, and Officer Tillman, your actions during this event were recognized by the command staff in keeping with the highest standards of the Michigan City Police Department. It is with great pleasure that we present to you this letter of commendation. Photo here real quick. Good job. Thank you so much.
Corporal Babcock, Officer Moore, and Officer Lewis. Please come forward. This letter of commendation was recommended by Sergeant Kyle Sparsky, command staff. Corporal Matthew Babcock, Officer Patrick Lewis, and Officer Brock Moore. Subjects are of a letter of commendation for outstanding services as follows. In the beginning months of 2023, in the face of unbridled gun violence, the Michigan City Police Department administration implemented the Crime Suppression Unit. The unit was comprised of 3 individuals that exemplified proactive policing during a time in which policing is and was evolving. In June of 2023, in the face of newly emerging politics and police practices, Corporal Matthew Babcock, Officer Patrick Lewis, and Officer Brock Moore took on the challenge of proactively working to subdue the gun violence in Michigan City. Within weeks of these officers starting their work, positive results took shape. During Operation Full Auto, these officers worked closely with nearly every division inside the walls of the Michigan City Police Department. The result was the execution of numerous search warrants, the arrest of 9 documented gang members, the seizure of multiple firearms, and also in close cooperation with the prosecutor's office to garnish new charges under the Criminal Organization Activity Statute. This was just the beginning. In the months that followed, these officers would redefine the relationship between the MCPD Patrol Division and the Investigation Division, bringing unbridled information sharing and elevating street-level cases to high felony investigations involving numerous suspects. To date, the Crime Suppression Unit has seized 34 guns, effected 90 arrests, executed 12 residential search warrants, and recovered over 400 grams of illicit narcotics, methamphetamine, and cocaine. The results of these efforts were immediately tangible. Michigan City saw a decrease in gun-related violence and shots fired calls. Additionally, because of the work done by the Crime Suppression Unit, the number of joint operations between them, the Michigan City Police Department Detective Bureau, and the LaPorte County Drug Task Force increased exponentially. The types of investigation detailed above embody everything that Michigan City Police Department has to offer, whether it is what we do for our communities or what we can offer to incoming applicants. Without a doubt, the efforts of Corporal Matthew Babcock, Officer Patrick Lewis, and Officer Brock Moore have made Michigan City a safer community. Their actions have also exemplified that proactive policing and the time policing is scrutinized on various levels is achievable and extremely effective. Corporal Matthew Babcock, Officer Patrick Lewis, and Officer Brock Moore, their actions during these events were recognized by the command staff are in keeping with the highest standards of the Michigan City Police Department. It gives me great pleasure to present to you this letter of commendation.
Yeah, I think we're done. Yeah, thank you. I'm obviously, as you can hear, by some of these specific events, you know, just the ongoing great work that we're continuing to do here at the Michigan City Police Department. Without the efforts of, again, all of these officers here and obviously the ones within the walls of the police department, continue to do great work. You know, we take pride in what we do. We take pride, you know, in the patches on our shoulders and the badge on our chest. We'll continue to serve the community, you know, with the utmost professionalism, integrity, and dedication. So again, I just want to thank obviously the ones here and the other officers throughout this department again for your dedication. We appreciate it, the city appreciates it, the community appreciates it. So again, just want to say thank you. So, I think maybe we'll try to get a whole group photo if we can.
We have a beautiful backdrop out there.
Yeah, a little bit of room in the hallway maybe.
Take a photo for the group, and then any family members and friends want to take pictures also. Again, it's a beautiful backdrop.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.